On the call, please record. You all know I suck at recording. It's just a fact of life. Me and technology don't get along. So, it is 8 o'clock Eastern. Everybody that's on this call, or if the replay works, watching the recording, says, Jay said the sound's now gone. I want to real quick. Can everybody hear me? Just seeing if that's a one-person thing or is that's a global thing here. Can I get a yes that you can hear me real quick? Just want to make sure the sound's not gone here. Cool. Jay, you might want to go out of GoToWebinar and come back in. Sometimes it's a GoToWebinar thing. All right, so what are we here for? Everybody on this call has got Real Estate Agent Takeover. Real quick, everybody like that? You guys like the theme and the flyers and the training? Can I get a yes if you guys really enjoyed it? I've got real good positive feedback all over the thread, because everybody seems to really be liking it. We do got a delay in the chat box here, so I am seeing a little bit of a delay. But the guy got here to give you a presentation. I'm pretty decent at getting agents to work with me. Everybody says they love the updates. Great. Me and my developer have been working hard to over-deliver and give you everything we promised. So what I've got here is Craig Brower. Everybody in here, real quick, who knows who Craig Brower is? Can I get a yes in the box if you guys know who he is? I've promoted his stuff before. And if you haven't, if you don't know, we got just a few no's in here. All right, Craig, go ahead and introduce yourself. This guy is amazing at getting agents to work with him.
All right, well, first of all, just want to say thanks to Don for having me on. Really do appreciate it. Real Estate Agent Takeover was awesome. Like you said, I do work a lot. You know, my offline business, a big part of it happens to be with real estate agents, and you know, I actually really loved this course. So with that, I want to say awesome job. And second, I just want to make sure, can everybody hear me okay?
Yep, and what I'm going to do is make sure you're set over to an organizer as well, Craig, and show your screen. For the people not seeing the screen yet, it's not up yet. I am doing that for you guys right now. Craig, you are now an organizer like me, and I'm changing it over to you. And then go ahead and show your screen with the PowerPoint on it, and then we should all be ready to go here.
All right, so let me click show my screen here.
Now, while he's doing that real quick, guys, first, can you see his screen? And second, you know, just relax tonight. We're doing some training here. We're all friends. If you're just hanging out, grab a beer, do whatever you got to do, but shut off Skype, kind of zone in here, chill out with us. Don't take this too seriously. We're going to learn tonight. We're going to have a good time. We're going to try and be fun while we learn, because that's the best way to do it. But take all the distractions away. We're going to try and deliver you some really good value here, and I've got Craig here for you guys. So take the distractions, move them away, and focus in, because we're going to do some learning tonight.
Right, absolutely, and you know, for those of you that know who I am, you know, thanks so much for attending, and for those of you who don't know who I am, just to give you a little bit of background to who I am, I'm Craig. I'm a 33-year-old guy from New Jersey. I am married. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and I have a new baby on the way, expected towards the end of August. So it's been a fun few years, and I kind of took a little bit of a break at the end of last year, really focused on my offline business quite a bit, and came back into getting really heavy into product creation and so forth. But you know, getting into product creation so I could share with you guys a lot of the stuff that I've been doing in my offline business, and basically teach you what I've been doing that's been bringing me success, so that you guys can do that as well. And the biggest thing that I want to mention before I start getting into my slides is the biggest piece of advice that I can share with you, regardless of whatever you decide to do with any product that you have, whether it be Real Estate Agent Takeover, any WSO product, service, yada yada, is take action. Biggest thing is take action. Make sure you're going out there and doing something. When I wasn't taking action, I wasn't having success. I'm sure Don can agree with that. When you're not taking action, you have nothing that's going to help you. So with that, biggest piece of advice that I can give you right now is make sure that with this information that we share with you tonight, that you take action in everything that really appeals to you and how you want to create your business.
And I just want to reiterate that here, guys. Don't just take action. I want you to take massive, imperfect action. Don't let step 6 that could stop you get in the way of step 2. Get out there. Go try it and get after it, because there's people out there that need your help. So all you got to do is take action. You take enough action. It's like the old saying they say, it's not how many times you fall off the horse, it's how many you get back up. That describes perfectly action. If you take enough action at it, even if you fail a bunch, eventually you're going to get up enough that you're going to succeed. You just got to take a bunch of action until you do.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I wanted to kind of start this whole presentation off with 5 myths, I guess you can say, of what many offline marketers like myself and like you may believe is how it is when you work with agents. So if everybody is ready, I'm going to start moving ahead with this presentation. And the only thing that I ask is that if you do have any questions, jot them down on a piece of paper. Hopefully you are going to be taking notes or something like that, but jot your questions down on a piece of paper. I've tried to design this presentation so that if it's a little bit unclear to you now, it's going to become clear down the road. If I do not answer your questions fully, then please ask me a little bit later in the presentation. But hopefully I remember everything that I laid out before I start clicking these slides. And hopefully you guys take away some really good value with this.
Real quick, before we start, I had a couple people ask how long it will be. I just got a few things to say. It could be anywhere from 50 minutes to an hour and a half, because I will do some Q&A at the end. And as long as everybody's getting lots of value, we're going to stay on the call. Okay? Right. And I got another person, Vivek, on here. He's great. Just want to share this with everybody. He sold the theme already to a new client for $550. And he's still going through the training. So new client action is already happening. So that's really awesome. But I did want to just let you guys know, it could be 50 minutes, could be an hour and a half. As long as you guys are getting value and staying interactive with us, awesome, and we'll keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not a problem with me. We'll try to make it as quick and valuable as possible, but the more information you guys want, we'll be here to help you guys. So with that, if everybody's ready, just give Don a Y or a yes, and we'll start going.
Boom, got a box full of yeses, man. Cool.
Awesome.
Get after it, buddy.
All right, here we go. So let's go over the, and just let me make sure that everybody's seeing this. I don't want to go too quick here, but we're going to go over 5 common myths that are preventing most offliners from working with agents in your area. Now, working with agents is a very intriguing idea, and a lot of people, it's a very specific niche in the offline niche, and working with real estate agents and local real estate in your area is actually a lot easier than a lot of people think, and I'm going to kind of go over that stuff now. So the first myth that I want to go over with you is that real estate agents are great marketers and advertisers. Okay? Now, there are many agents that know advertising, that know marketing, but for the most part, they rely on their agency to do that marketing and advertising for them. So when you're going after an agent, I know a lot of questions that I've received with some of my products that I've sold for real estate is, how useful is this information going to be when, agents in my area have, their agency is doing, their brokerage is doing stuff for them. And the biggest thing is that they're relying solely on their agency to do their marketing for them, that they have a very hard time branding themselves as a real estate agent in their area that's not as well known as some of the the bigger agents in their local area. And for the most part, I would say probably 9 out of every 10 agents really have no clue about how to market themselves to really build their business. So they are desperate for your help. They're desperate for the information and tools that you can provide them with. And you guys know, as offline marketers, as internet marketers, as people that do this, we think outside the box. Our minds, I don't know about you, but my mind is always working to try to figure out bigger and better ways to do things that make things easier and more efficient. Now, if you guys can agree with that, give Don a yes or a Y or whatever, but that's the big thing I want you to understand is that, remember, we're going to these agents as marketers, as people that can help them get more exposure for their business. We're not going at them as a person who knows a tremendous amount about real estate, okay? Knowing stuff about real estate is obviously going to help you, but you do not need to know as much as a real estate agent, and that really goes with any offline business. Your profession, where you specialize in, is not their business. You specialize in marketing, So understanding that agents need to understand how to market themselves better, that's where you come in. So do not be afraid to go after agents with that.
Yeah, and I want to add two things there. If you look in the bonus section of Real Estate Agent Takeover, you'll find a questionnaire. And what this is really doing is allows you to become the educator while pointing out the flaws in the marketing, like how many Facebook fans do you have, or this or that. Those questions allow you to see where the holes are at and become an educator. Because just like Craig said, that's what they're looking for. They're not a great marketer. So if you can educate them, it's too much of a headache for them to still do it. You could tell them exactly how to do everything. They're still going to pay you to do it because their job is to sell a house, and they're going to hire you to do the marketing even if you explain it to them.
Right. And that goes across the gamut in any offline business. I remember I had a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago that was amazing at search engine optimization. And they actually had things up for beauty salons in the Los Angeles area. And it was huge. They were ranked on page 1 for it. And they were petrified to go after these salons because they were afraid that they were going to be asked questions that they couldn't answer. And I said to him, I said, you're going in there to promote SEO services to this person or to this company or to these companies. You don't have to know about beauty salons. So, kind of getting back on track, you don't have to know a tremendous amount about real estate. You have to show them how you can get them results with the marketing and tools and information that you know how to do that they don't. So with that, I hope that makes sense, and I hope that it kind of opens your eyes a little bit more to, or at least makes you feel a little bit more at ease when you're getting ready to talk to these agents. So the next myth that I want to go on, it's a little bit similar, and I have to just kind of move this information over here for a second because I can't really see my screen. Okay, myth number 2 is most of their business comes from marketing and advertising. This is partially true. Okay, many agents will try to do marketing and advertising for themselves, or their agency does it for them, but the majority of real estate agents actually receive business in other ways, or leads in other ways. Now, when I say a majority, I mean the majority meaning the agents that you want to target, and we'll get into that a little bit later into this presentation. But let's kind of just go into a little bit about how most agents actually receive leads to be able to work with. So let me click here one more time. Okay. One thing is, and hopefully you guys can see the screen, hopefully I'm not moving too fast. One thing is lead networks, which a lot of agencies are starting to do. You can see right underneath that, I put something called op time. Now, around here, a lot of agencies or brokerages, however you want to call it opportunity time or phone time and things like that. And that's where an agent or 2 agents will actually sit at the front desk, more or less, and any phone calls that come in regarding a home for sale or questions about listing a home, renting a home, whatever it might be, come directly into those agents. If they ask for an agent specifically, that agent needs to pass it on to that specific agent. If they're just kind of inquiring about something, that becomes a lead. Opportunity time has really drastically slowed down within the past year with real estate agents from what I've gathered. So what a lot of the bigger agencies have done is create kind of like a lead network where a person will call into that main brokerage inquiring about a home and then send that lead over to an agent that is affiliated with that lead network. So they'll receive, they'll typically have to pay a referral fee back to their lead network, but it's a way for leads to come in without worrying about doing things like open houses and so forth. Open houses is obviously another huge lead source and a very, very good lead source for agents that are very inexperienced or don't have enough business to be able to kind of, sit around. No, I shouldn't say sit around, but let their inventory, pay the bills for them. Inventory is listings and so forth. So when an agent has, a bunch of listings going on, obviously they have inventory. They're hoping for those homes to sell and all that kind of stuff, but they can only do so many open houses. So they rely on agents, other agents that don't have as much business or as much inventory to help do those open houses for them. So that's another way that agents get a majority of their business. And then the most successful agents pretty much get their business from referrals. Those are agents that have been in the business for a while, that have built up a good brand in your area. Those are typically the agents that you're going to see that kind of have advertising. They may have things on shopping carts. That's a big one around here. They do things on shopping carts. They do things on park benches. Sometimes you see billboards and things like that all over the place. That's how they brand themselves, but primarily 80% of their business comes in from referrals. 20% of their business comes in from advertising and marketing, things that they may be doing. So that's something that I really want you to jot that down, because that's a very important thing that we're going to go over a little bit later in this presentation, referrals and the type of agents that you really want to work with. So,
yeah, I want you guys to make sure you don't just jot that down. Maybe if you got a big Sharpie, write that down, because that's huge. It's a monstrous number, and I want you to understand the impact of that. 80% of their business is coming from referrals. So if you can find ways to double referrals by incentive-based programs, do it. It's huge for your clients.
Huge for the clients, and also just to kind of clarify that also is that the agents that have the biggest businesses, the ones that are the most successful in your area, primarily rely on referrals from past clients to refer them more business. So that's, I want you to understand both types of referrals compared to like a lead network and so forth. And this will be explained a little bit further in the presentation. So don't worry. I did make sure that this is a big part of it, because this is a big part of how I built my real estate business with dealing with agents, is understanding exactly how this works. So with that, I want to go into a very kind of shocking little myth here.
This is very important, guys. Very, very important, because most people see the exact opposite of this unless you've been in the niche going after agents for a while. Then you know this is a myth.
Right. Now, and then what that myth is you hopefully can all see that, is that agents can afford to pay money for expensive marketing. And, the reason why most people think this is because they think that agents get a tremendous amount of money from their commission checks, which is true to an extent. And Don, you're going to be able to see this. I won't, but I'm going to ask this question, and I want people to respond back to this. What do you guys think the average real estate agent makes per year?
Just put the number in the box. All right, I'll read them as they come in, and just don't be shy. You got 39K, 60K, 31K, 25 to 30, 80K, 50K, 45K, 40, 50, 50, 25, 90, 40 to 50. All right, so we're getting between 40 to 50, up to 60 is about the average of what I'm getting.
Right. Okay, here, I'm going to show you this screen now. This is actually, I took this screenshot today from salary.com. This is going to show you the median salary that a typical agent makes in the United States. $37,230. That means $3,100 a month, give or take, $716 per week. Now, for some people, that's great. For many others, that's not so great. The big thing that is a big difference when dealing with real estate agents as compared to dealing with other businesses is that real estate agents are paid when they have a house or a home that closes. Okay, so now many times agents will not see a paycheck for weeks to months at a time. Okay. And that's very, very important for you to understand as we move forward in this presentation. Okay.
I've talked about that before, guys, where if you can take the pain that your buyer, your consumer, your customer is having and kind of relate to it and try and help them with it to solve that pain, it's big. And that's the number one pain of almost every agent you're going to go after, is what he just talked about. Ask anybody you know that's been an agent, those months or those weeks without a check, terrible. Like that turning in your gut feeling, they get it big time. And you can talk to them about that and help them fix that, and they'll love you for it.
Right. And the big thing is that, with the information that Don provided in Real Estate, Agent Takeover, the big thing is that you can take that information. That's why in the beginning of this presentation I made it clear to make sure that you take action with the things that you're going to learn here and the information that Don provided you in his product a couple days ago, because you can go out and you can make some money for yourself without a doubt. You can go out and use that information. You can go out and use the theme, and you can go out and find agents that are willing to to pay you to help them with their marketing, which is huge, which is great. You're going to get some money in your pocket. That's awesome, and hopefully build a relationship with that agent. Now, the best way to be able to build a relationship with that agent is imagine taking an agent that's struggling to get extra leads, struggling to get extra listings, and getting them an extra even just 1 to 2 more closings per year by providing that information. That could bring that salary, that median, from $37,000 to the mid-40s to $50,000 for that agent by just helping them out a little bit. And the big thing is that you want to make sure that you go in understanding that the majority of agents that you're typically going to want to work with, the agents that I go out and try to find, are the agents that kind of fit into this. And I'll explain that a little bit more as we get into it and why it's so important. But understand that for these big, the idea that agents make a ton of money when they get a closing is really only partially the truth. And if anybody wants me to kind of explain typically how the breakdown works of real estate commissions, let Don know. I'll explain that very quickly. If you guys understand that, then we can move ahead. So just let Don know if you want me to kind of explain that or move on.
Yeah, we got a couple yeses in the box, so go ahead and do it real quick, because some has no, and some have yes, so just run through it real fast.
Very quickly, what's going to happen is, let's just use a house that's on an average of a $400,000 listing. And an agent goes in there and lists that house for 6% commission. Okay? They have to typically pay out a commission to the buyer's agent. Now, obviously, agents want to be able to try to list the house as the selling agent and also obviously get the home or find a buyer for that house as well, because they'll receive double the commissions. But on top of that, many agents have to split that commission with their brokerage. So many times that 6% commission on a $400,000 house ends up actually only being between, what they'll actually see on that closing is maybe only about 1.5% to 2% of that total sale. So on a on a $400,000 house, 1.5%, they're going to see about $6,000, maybe $8,000 for that home once everything is all said and done. Not as much as you may think. Obviously, a nice paycheck to be able to receive, especially if you're closing on a regular basis. But if not, most agents are only going to see typically between 1.5% to 2%. Obviously, there's fluctuations. I don't want to get into all the details because there are people that probably understand this, but that's typically how it works. Remember, the agent is splitting that commission with the buyer's agent, and they're also going to be splitting their commissions with the brokerage that they work for, unless they have a plan set up with their agency that gives them a higher percentage that they don't have to pay to their brokerage. But that's it in a nutshell. So not as big of commission checks as most people assume. Okay. So with that, I'm going to move on to the next myth. Does that make sense to everybody so far, though? Everything starting to or everything making sense so far?
Can we get some feedback? Anybody learning anything here today? These stats helping so you can kind of understand who you're really going after here, their struggles, so you can go in there and help them instead of just go, hey, I can help you. Hey, I know how you feel. I can go in, I can do this, this, and this, and maybe bring you another home or two a year and take those spaced out months with nothing in them and fill them with a paycheck. Cool. Getting tons of great feedback. Awesome.
Great. Cool. Very good. And the great thing about agents, and I'm just going to let make sure my screen goes through here, but the great thing about agents is that agents know that they have to build a relationship with their clients, and I'm hoping that most agents do that. If there's any agents on the call right now, obviously you're probably aware that building up reputation or building up a relationship, I should say, with your clients, even if you've already sold them a house or you're in the process or you've worked with them before, is huge. And because of that, agents realize that you're going to want to build a relationship with them. Building a relationship with any business that you're working with, whether it be real estate agents, whether it be other consultant companies or print company or whoever it may be, you always want to build a relationship because the relationship is much more powerful than that 1 or 2 paychecks that you might be able to receive. When you have a relationship, 1 or 2 paychecks can turn into 1 or 2 paychecks every single month from that client, and it can go on and on and on as long as you have that relationship. So hopefully that makes some sense as well. So now here's another. Now we're going to start getting into a little bit more about agents and how we want to find agents and who we want to work with in these next couple of myths. Myth number 5 being the more important one. But myth number 4 is agents do not like to help other agents get leads. Now, what I want to just explain exactly what I mean there. A lot of people realize that real estate agents compete. And I know in my area, I'm in northern New Jersey. I'm in the area where the Housewives of New Jersey is filmed. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with that show, but all of those New Jersey housewives live within about 15 to 20 minutes of me. Very highly congested real estate market. And for a long time, as I worked as a real estate agent, and I'm currently a referral agent, but I understand that because of that, and I always assumed that because there were so many agents, that agents were always kind of almost fist fighting to get leads, and they wanted that lead more than the other and so forth. Now, is that true in a sense? Yes. But it's usually typically when agents are competing for a listing. If they know a listing is coming on the market, or agents are competing and they know that other agents have gone in there on listing presentations, there's some competition there because obviously that agent wants to have that listing because that's inventory. That's a listing that they have that they know that they're going to get paid a commission on once that house sells. The big thing is that agents need other agents that have leads to bring a buyer into that home. And to just clarify that a little bit more, when an agent lists a home, they're considered the seller's agent. They have to try to make as much money for that seller as possible. That's their job. As a real estate agent, their job is to make the person selling the home as much money as possible on the sale of that home. A buyer's agent represents the buyer and needs to work in the best interest of the buyer and get them the house for the price that they feel most comfortable with. So there's some things there that clash a little bit, especially if an agent becomes the selling agent and the buyer's agent. But the majority of the time that does not happen. Typically another agent from another agency or even somebody in the office will bring in the buyer for that listing. So obviously agents want to make sure that there's always a steady flow of people coming into that house and showing interest in that house, because then they can go back to their, to the sellers of the home and say, yes, we've had a lot of action on the home. A lot of people are coming in and seeing it, and from there they're able to kind of differentiate: should we do a listing or should we do a price change? What else can we do? Maybe we should do something to this room. Maybe we should do a little bit more of a, of a nicer setting, some more curb appeal, whatever it might be. But agents need to be able to work together synergistically, because when they do that, that's how they're going to get paid. A buyer needs to make sure that they're going to get paid once the sale goes through. A seller's agent needs to make sure that they bring in a buyer that gets they place an offer to that seller that the seller is going to eventually accept, have a closing go through, and everybody gets along, and the closing actually happens. So agents definitely need to work together in order to make the most amount of money. So agents definitely will refer you to other agents. Okay, that's a big thing that I wanted to explain and why I put this myth in there. These myths are to explain to you that real estate is not as scary as it appears to be. And I'm not sure if there's people on this call that have been hesitant to get into real estate because they worried about, it's kind of like going into a Shark Tank, with an open wound and hoping that you can get out alive. It's one of those things where if you understand the mind and how real estate agents actually work together, you can really, really have a lot of success working in this offline niche. So that's why, I created it this way, and that's why, Don can agree that, as he's been working with agents, you're probably finding very much the same exact information that I'm providing here. That, agents definitely have no problem referring you to other agents, because if that agent can bring in more leads, that agent is possibly going to bring in a buyer to that other agent's listing. It's really, really cool how it all works. Don, I don't know if you have anything that you want to add to that or not.
No, man, you're going awesome. Getting just amazing feedback. Just trying to answer all the questions. Getting just awesome feedback. Just can I get a yes in the box if everybody's learning some great stuff here while we're busting all these myths? Because so far, okay, good. Tons of yeses are flowing. No, man, you just keep going, brother.
Awesome. Okay. Here's the big one. This is the one that that I want everybody to understand, and this is how you can take, or how you can really start off in real estate right now, or if you're struggling to work with agents, this is going to be the myth that is going to open up a lot of eyes. And really, please give feedback to Don if this next myth really opens up your eyes. I really hope it does, because once I realized it, it made it explode for me. Myth number 5. Working with experienced agents is the best. That is probably the biggest myth and the biggest error and the biggest wall that people put in front of themselves, is saying, I'm going to only go after agents that either I know, I've heard about, I've seen, I see their signs all over the place with their names, or whatever. That's the agent that knows that marketing is going to work for them. Let me tell you something very, very important. If you know an agent, if you see them plastered all over the place, if you hear other people talking about that agent in conversation, whatever it might be, believe me, they have a marketing machine that works for them all the time. They have something already set up. Could they possibly use something that you could offer them? Yes. But the best agents to go after are the ones that are looking to get past that $37,000 mark, getting into the next level. People that are struggling, people that are inexperienced. The majority of people that are doing open houses, if it's not their listing, those types of agents are the best to go after, because those are the ones that are kind of just sitting there saying, I want to get to the level that, Joe Smith is at. Joe Smith is getting listings upon listings. He has a closing every couple of weeks. He's driving the Mercedes. He's parking in the parking lot. He always has people calling for him, or whatever it might be. That's what agents typically will end up thinking about, is how can I get to that next level? What are they doing different that I'm not doing? And this goes back to, I believe it was myth number 2, where I told you to write down the referral thing, okay? The majority of agents that are experienced, that have really successful real estate businesses in your area, have that because the majority of the clients that they work with would give them referrals for their business, okay? So when they end up working with 20, closings a year, they can actually, if they have built a good enough relationship with those people, which typically happens after working with people for that long of a time. Obviously, there's always stipulations where maybe they just never want to speak with that home buyer again or home seller again. But for the most part, if the agent and the person that they work with, or the family that they worked with, enjoyed the whole transaction, the whole experience of going through selling a home, buying a home, and all that kind of stuff, they will absolutely refer other people that they know to that agent. And that's primarily how they get their business. Now, what I used to do when I first started doing it, I don't even know why I did, because I actually, I hold a real estate license. When I was going after my offline, or going after agents for my offline business, I went after the experienced agents, the agents that I knew about, the agents that I saw that, and I was getting turned down. I don't need this. I have this already. My agency does this for me. Yada yada. Whatever it might be. It was then that I realized, wait a second. There's a hell of a lot more agents that are struggling than there are successful. That's why there's such a huge turnover rate in real estate. And that is the biggest hurdle, that if you can understand that, like, wait a second, if I walk into an office and if I look at the roster of all the agents in this office, there's only a handful of people that I know. The rest of them are those agents that would love your help. Now, is that going to work with every agent? Obviously, no. It's just like going after any offline business. You're not going to get in the entire main street of your town or city, but you're going to be able to get some of them. The thing is that when you go after those agents that are looking to get to that next level, and if you can hit them with that pain that they're experiencing, with that, I'm not going to ask you when your last closing was, but if I can help you get some more leads and get a couple extra closings per year, how much will that help your business? If I can provide those results for you, how much is that, how much is that going to help you? How much is that going to help you go home and feel good about, about your business? I've spoken to a lot of agents, and you build relationships with them. You build relationships with the agents, the people that you work with, and it's amazing how many times I'll talk to somebody, around my age, and they sit there and say, Craig, it's hard going home and telling my wife that this closing fell through, or that we have to wait till next month for the next closing, and and I don't really know what to do, and then to sit there and say, you know what, hey, look, I can help you, man. This is what I do. I know how to help you get more market exposure. I know how to get you more results than you're getting right now. If you let me do that for you, we can really create something that works very synergistically together. And you'll find that those agents almost will, they'll almost bow down to you on their knees and say, thank you, please, what can I do? Please tell me. And just build that relationship. Start it off as a friendship. That's typically how I like to work, is start it off as a friendship, like a relationship, and just let them know that you understand what they're going through. You have your own business too. You're an offline marketer. You're going out there trying to make money, trying to put food on your table, for your family, to pay the mortgage, to pay your rent, to pay your car payments, whatever it might be. And if you can relay that information to an agent that you're working with, or any offline business, and say, hey, look, this is how I can get you results. This is how, if you want to get to that level of, of Joe Smith or Marge or whoever it might be in your office, I can't get you to that level right now, but I can start to set the wheels in motion that will get you there, so that people will start referring you, because you're getting more people to work with you. When you go after those types of agents, it's amazing how many more leads you can get working with you, or how many more customers you can get working with you going that route. So I'm hoping that myth, this is the big one for me. It was the eye-awakening thing for me, or the eye-opener, I guess you can say, for me. Does that help anybody?
Yeah, real quick, in the box, we're kind of at the end of the myths here, and we're about to switch, because I've got a lot of people asking me about, where do we find these people? Lead gen, where is this stuff at? So I want to just pause for a moment. This is going to actually be a little longer webinar than I thought. We're going to pause for a moment. Anybody have any questions about the myths so far? Have they helped you figure out kind of who you're going after, their pains, so you can walk in there and go, hey, I know you're doing this check thing, and you probably haven't closed a house in I don't know how long, because that'll eat at them. And then you can go in there, be an educator, like, we can do this, this, and this. Because like I said earlier, you can tell them exactly how to do it, but they're not going to do it still, because they have to be a realtor. They don't have to. They're not a marketer. That's what you're for. So if you educate them after the pain, like, here's the pain. Let me talk about that real quick, and I can fix this. Here's how we do it. This, right. This, and this. And then you just educate them, and then they're going to want to hire you for it.
Right. They're going to want your help, because they're going to realize how much they don't know about marketing and branding themselves, and how by doing that for them and helping them get there as a supplement to their business is going to get them more people to work with, which is eventually going to get them more referrals, because clients like to refer their friends, family, colleagues to the agent that they worked with. It's kind of a weird reciprocity type of thing. But think about it. Is there anybody in this room that has either A, been referred to an agent, or referred a friend or family member to a real estate agent that they worked for? Think about it. It's how it works. So it's very important to understand that. And if you can convey that to the agents that you want to work with, and I know that Don mentioned that one person asked, what's a way to find. A very simple way is walk into the your local real estate office, and typically there will be a roster of people that you can look at. I know a lot of the offices around here, there's a roster of the agents that are in there, and you can just look around and pick a couple people at random that you may not have seen before or heard about, or seen advertisements, or seen in the newspaper, or see their listings or whatever listed by, yada yada, and reach out to them, give them a call. Ask if you could put something in their mailbox. Most agents will have a mailbox in the office. Offer something in there, letting them know, hey, look, I specialize in marketing. I'd love to help you market your business. There's no obligations. I would love to meet with you for lunch. Don, you gave a great example in your real estate agent takeover about, hey, this is what we can do for you if we're a good fit. then we'll move ahead. If not, hey, then no big deal. If you're satisfied with the marketing and the results that you're getting, then continue doing what you're doing. If you're looking to get to the next level, let's have a conversation. Let's see what's going on, how I might be able to assist you, maybe give you some pointers on what you can do to help market yourself and brand yourself better. And if you need help with that, then that's where I come in. And it's amazing how much of a conversation and dialogue you can have that turns into actual business for you and the agent.
Yep, I agree. And then they're just real non-pushy sales videos because they don't really know you, so you just kind of got to build up that trust. You can't really be just pushing it. I mean, just be real with them. You know, if we're a good fit, let's work together. If not, and you're happy with where you're getting, if they're already happy with where they're at, they're not going to hire you anyways because they've got somebody for it, like Craig said.
Exactly.
All right, so everybody seems to be on the same page. The myths. Craig, go ahead and head over towards the lead gen and the keep going forward. Everybody seems to be on the same page and getting great feedback so far, man.
Awesome, very cool. All right, so let's move on to the next part, incredible lead sources, and hopefully that's up on everybody's screen right now. Now, this is the first part that I'm going to go over is for those of you that may be a little bit hesitant to start dealing with agents right away, which I hopefully have opened your eyes enough to realize that agents are people too. They're people that want to get to the next level in their business, just like everybody else, and they're used to dealing with rejection. So they understand it. So when you go after somebody, and when you go after an agent, they understand rejection, so they're actually a little bit easier to work with. So understand that as well. So let me go into a really, really cool way to be able to start to work in your local real estate market without dealing with agents. FSBOs, for sale by owners. Now this market used to be quite a bit bigger a couple of years ago, but it's still a large market in a lot of areas. And you're going to be able to find, you've probably seen signs for a home for sale by owner that they're trying to basically sell their home. They're local people, but they really need help badly. Okay, they're people just like you that are out there that don't really know too much about real estate. What they're really just trying to do is they're trying to save on paying commissions to an agent. And at the same time, they want to make the most amount of money from the sale of their home. It's very simple, very easy to understand, but these for sale by owners are never going to see the amount of money that they're hoping to see based on just doing some research on the internet or using something like Zillow and trying to figure out, hey, this is what's going on. My house, this house sold down the street for whatever, and my house is pretty similar to that, so let's put it on the market for this. They have no idea how to market themselves. They have no idea what they're really doing. They're trying to make as much money as they can by saving on paying that commission to a real estate agent. So it's a huge market to be able to go after without dealing directly with agents. And hey, this could help you with your pitch when you go to agents and offer them different things that you can do. And the great thing is, and Don and I had we had a good conversation about this the other day on how you would be able to use the theme that Don has in Real Estate Agent Takeover. And while Don agrees that it's definitely better to have more homes on there than just one, you can definitely use that theme to help her for sale by owner by putting on pictures of their home, by putting on pictures of the property, the interior of the home, and all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of for sale by owners, like I said, they do not know how to market themselves. They don't know what to do. They take pictures. They pop it up on on websites and so forth that they hope people are going to find and so forth, but they really have no clue how to proceed and how to get as many people to see their house as possible. Real estate's a numbers game. You need to get as many people into your house as possible in order to receive the most amount of money. If you only have a handful of people coming in and nobody's interested or only partially interested, they're not going to make typically are not going to make a full price offer. They could easily go very, very underneath what a person is looking to sell their home for. So definitely, for sale by owners need a lot more market exposure than they're currently getting, and this is a great way to be able to go in and say, hey, I specialize in marketing. I am not a real estate agent. I cannot legally charge you a fee or a commission for the sale of your house. But what I can do is, this is how I specialize in marketing, and this is how much it's going to cost to get you more people seeing it. Now, that's a big thing that I want you to understand. Real estate has a ton of regulations that you need to abide by, that agents need to abide by and understand, and most agents do understand that. But you, as a marketing professional, as an offline marketer, cannot go into a for sale by owner or something like that and say, hey, look, once your house sells, give me a 0.5% commission, okay? Because that's actually considered a real estate transaction, and it's illegal to do that if you're not a licensed real estate agent.
Everybody's listening right now, because what he's talking about right now is extremely important, because it's kind of a loophole almost. It allows you to take a fee instead of a percent and get around things. So just repeat that from the beginning one more time, Craig, because I think this is very important for people to know and understand.
Right. So, some people, I've talked to some people about, when they wanted to start working in the real estate area and didn't want to go after the agents and so forth. And even when I train some people to kind of go out there and offer my services, is basically you cannot go to a for sale by owner, or even somebody that's even trying to rent out their property or something like that by themselves, and say, okay, this is what I can do for you, but you don't have to pay me until the house sells. And once the house sells, you pay me 5% commission, or a 0.5% commission. You cannot do that. That's considered a real estate transaction. You are going there as a marketing professional, as somebody that's going to help them market their home, and you can charge a fee for that. So let's just say that you build them the WordPress theme, or you create for them, some flyers or some downloadable information or whatever it might be. You can charge them a fee for that, just like you would go to any other company.
Gosh, Craig, turn off your phone, man.
I know. I apologize. It's crazy telemarketers. Anyway, so that's something that you really need to understand, because you cannot process any type of real estate transaction without being a licensed real estate agent, and any licensed real estate agent also needs to have their license housed through a brokerage. Okay, so that's why you might see a lot of, on a roster, for instance, you may see a lot of people on there listed as an agent, and they may no longer be there, or they may be somebody like me that's a referral agent. But I need to have my license housed through my organization, through a brokerage. I cannot just say, okay, I'm licensed, I'm Craig Brower, and I have a real estate license. It needs to be housed, somewhere. So very important to understand that you can charge a fee, whatever you charge. $100, $200, $500, $1,000, whatever. It cannot be based on a percentage of the sale of that house. It's illegal, and you can get in a lot of trouble, and so can the seller of that home. So please understand that. Everybody clear?
Yeah, I'm actually here just typing away on a few questions. Look like everybody's on the same page. Go forward, and I want everybody to make sure they're paying attention. There's one more slide, and then there's something I'm really excited about, because I kind of had to beg Craig to teach it to me and share it with you guys. So if you're not up by the computer or wherever you're listening to this, zone in for the next little bit, because it's going to start getting real good.
Sources of leads for FSBOs. We're going to go over this very fast, very simple. Okay, best way to be able to find for sale by owners. Just make sure that my screen is being seen by everybody. Craigslist, not my website, which kind of was, but Craigslist is a great way to be able to find for sale by owners. There's a lot of people on there, even small-time agents that are using Craigslist to help to try to get some market exposure. So it's a really cool way to be able to find for sale by owners, as well as a really cool way to be able to find agents. I know somebody asked that question before. What's a great way to find agents? It's a great way. Craigslist. They're using it already. They obviously are trying to do some market promotion for that home, and they're trying to do it very cheap. So they're using Craigslist. eBay real estate, not as big as it used to be, but still a very viable source of leads for people selling, for selling homes. Also, good for rentals and stuff like that. Craigslist, also the same thing. Very good for rental properties, apartments, and all that kind of stuff, which is a great way to be able to use the theme that Don has provided. Is actually you can use that and become kind of like a source in your area for rental properties, or you can even get in touch with like vacation properties and let people, people that are trying to rent out their homes, at like a place like the Jersey Shore, for instance, or let's say Myrtle Beach or wherever it might be. You can actually become a source for that as well, and charge fees for people to put their listings on there and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great way to be able to harness that. Obviously, local newspaper ads, people still use it, especially people that really don't know too much about marketing, like we said before. They're going to go in their local newspaper ads because that's what they figure, a lot of people still look for that. The majority of people are typically finding homes online and so forth. So local newspaper ads that you see, a person, for sale by owner or whatever, it's a great way to be able to go look for their open houses. Go in there and talk to them directly. They're going to be people in your area that you can relate to, and let them know, hey, I'm from such and such town. I grew up here, or I moved in a couple of years ago. This is how I specialize in helping people market themselves. I'd love to be able to help you. Maybe we can get together and have lunch sometime and talk about how we can work together. And I actually showed this website to Don recently, which is fizbo.com. And again, Fizbo is for sale by owner. And the way fizbo.com works is I believe it's $69.95, and a person, for sale by owner can list their home for sale on there. They give them a small web page where they can share their listing. They can be contacted or called, and then also for sale by owner, or fizbo.com also now has an additional fee for $300, I believe it is now, or $299.95, where that house can actually be listed in the multiple listing service in that area. So it's a great way to be able to find leads right there. Fizbo.com. You can reach out to them, let them know this is what I do. I'm not an agent. That's the big thing, that when you're dealing with a for sale by owner, you want to let them know you're not an agent. You're a marketing professional. You specialize in marketing. You specialize in advertising, and you do it locally. When they know that you're local, it works a lot better than sitting there, me calling somebody in San Francisco saying, hey, I specialize in marketing, apartments and things like that in the San Francisco area. It's much better for me to sit there and say, hey, look, you're trying to sell some property here in Montville. I'd love to be able to help you out. This is, I grew up in the area. I know the area very well. Let's see if we can work together. It's much, much more effective. All right, so that's a source of leads. Obviously, there's enough information here where you can realize that, okay, there's a lot other ways to be able to find these things, but for the most part, you got Craigslist, you have eBay classifieds, eBay real estate, local newspaper ads. Obviously, local advertising, local classifieds is a great way to be able to find them. And then obviously, Fizbo.com is the big dog when you're trying to find actual for sale by owners. So easy enough. I'm going to move on to the next slide.
All right, real quick, guys, here. I see about a 60% attentive rate, so I need everybody that's away from their computer or anything, come back here right now. I need that to get up to like 80%. Put a yes in the box if you want to see what I think is the best part of this presentation, the golden honeypot of leads. We're almost at 80%. Everybody come back here. Let's get everybody in the box. This is the most important part to me because this is what I had to beg Craig to actually teach. I haven't seen this anywhere else. And it was so kind of slap in the face simple. So go ahead, man. Everybody in here is blowing up the comment box. They want to see.
Right. All right. In a prior life, I mentioned a little bit earlier that I was I think I did. I know I talked about this, but I used to be a national business development manager in a previous life. The biggest area that I dealt with was with schools, colleges, and trade schools throughout the United States. And I was initially very, very nervous to start dealing with schools because I was this guy that didn't really care too much about school, and I didn't really know how to approach schools and so forth. And I realized that the majority of people that you talk to at like a school, like a director or something like that, is actually very, very easy to do. So do not be afraid of this. But local training schools for real estate agents to get their licenses or continuing education credits or continuing education units is huge to be able to find the correct type of agent that, well, I shouldn't say the correct type of agent, but the best type of agent that I think there is to work with, which is new agents, inexperienced agents that either are getting continuing education, which is now a law in many states. It might be actually nationwide now. I'm not sure outside the country, but continuing education is required in a lot of different licensing and certifications and so forth. But for the most part, real estate agents that are looking to get their license, that are in training, they have to go through a course that's anywhere between a full 5 days a week. I know when I went, it was 2 weeks straight, 5 days a week, and I want to say it was 12 hours a day. It was the equivalent of, I believe, 4 college credits is what it would have been equivalent to. But usually courses are anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks, depending on how the person signs up for that course. And real estate training schools definitely want to have their people that are going through that to make sure that they pass the exam and that they become successful. More importantly, they want to make sure people pass the exam more than, have a successful real estate agent. The more people that they can get through the door that actually go through the required training to take the state license exam is more important. But they're very, very willing to be able to generate some more income for themselves by having you come in as a local marketing professional, teaching those newly or getting ready to be licensed agents how to help market themselves. And then at the end of that short little training, and typically you can go in and talk to the director of the school and say, hey, look, this is what I do. I'm local. All these people come into your school are pretty much local. I want to show them how they can help market themselves once they are licensed. And at the end, I'm going to offer my services. And if anybody joins from your school, then let's split it. And you'll find that these real estate training schools love that idea. They're not typically approached in that kind of way. A lot of times they're approached by other types of real estate type of tools that agents can use to help them look a little bit more professional or so forth. But never really anybody goes in there talking about marketing and services that they can help provide. So it's unbelievable. It's one of my biggest sources of being able to find agents in my area. Especially now that continuing education credits have become mandatory recently within the past, I believe it was last April, that it became mandatory here in New Jersey. I believe it was last April. But you'll find agents there that need to go there to get their continuing education credits. You're going to find agents there that are very inexperienced, and you're going to find the very experienced agents there as well. But the new agents just coming out or just going through the training to get their license is it's like shooting fish in a barrel, because they're desperate to figure out how to make their business successful from day one. From the moment that they get their real estate license, they want to come out of the doors, guns blazing, getting clients and all that kind of stuff, which is still going to be very tough for them to do. It's going to be tough for them to do in the beginning. Let's not try to BS anybody here. But for the most part, they're very, very willing to be able to talk with you and figure out how you can help them start their business with a bang. So, I hope that that's kind of excited a few people. Once I, started doing that a couple of years ago and dealing with some of the agents or some of the training schools in my area, it was it opened up the doors tremendously. And I've actually watched many of those agents go on and start to build up a business where now they primarily rely on referrals. And it was great to actually watch them go from just getting their license to having successful real estate businesses. And they're very happy with what I was able to do for them, and move on from there. So do never be afraid to approach a school, real estate training school in your area. They're definitely willing to be able to work for you or work with you, and you just have to go in there and really just do a short presentation on how to market yourself. Great ways to be able to do that, and offer them kind of foot in the door opportunities that you can provide them, that they're not coming out, spending a tremendous amount of money, that you can start to develop that relationship with them. So, I hope that there's, at least a few of you on here that say, wow, that's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, I'm getting some great feedback on there. Tons of people saying they never thought about that. And that's great, man. That's I had to kind of beg him to let that out there. And it seems simple. And if you've been on my list or know anything about me, simple's what works. And if you can go in there, you can put a flyer up in there and get people to call you for help with their marketing. Lots of different things you can do in that. Amazing. I love that. Just a little little trick that you got there with that little lead source that nobody else talks about. I think it's awesome.
Right. It's very big, and a lot of the schools in your area that are getting agents to come through, they come through on a pretty regular basis. So it's definitely, if you can develop that relationship with the local school in your area, you can consistently go in there and offer this training. And it doesn't need to be long. 15, 20 minutes. This is how you can do it. This is what you can do. And these are some of the things that I can do for you. If you're interested, we can meet after class, or you can go here, or talk to Dan, and Dan will give you my information, and we'll talk down the road. And then you have this relationship with the school. So the school obviously is going to try to help you as well, because they're going to receive a monetary payment from getting their students to actually go through you. So it's kind of a win-win situation for you and the school, and it's a very, very cool way to be able to get leads, all the time on a pretty consistent basis. So
great, man. Just keep going. Getting lots of great feedback still. Very cool.
So here's another big thing that when you're dealing with agents, real estate flyers are a very important part of the process of a home, of selling a home. And now the big thing is that with real estate flyers and so forth, that no matter, if people are talking about, finding a house through, the internet, through Realtor.com, or through the agency or whatever, or using Twitter or Facebook, or however they're finding the home or getting information from an agent, there's always going to be a real estate flyer involved in that process. Now, whether that be something that the agent keeps on the outside of the house by their for sale sign, or primarily inside for the open houses or the new listings, flyers are there. They're just part of the actual process. Now, the big thing is that the majority of flyers that you see do not do what they need to do.
Craig, real quick, before I let you go any further, I just want to ask one question here. So see if anybody kind of knows this. Now, there's a lot of different answers you can put to this in here, but I really want you to answer this question. What do you think the number one most important thing you are supposed to do in a flyer is? I mean, is it the logo, the graphics, the home pictures, the call to action? What is it do you think it is? And me and Craig were talking about this earlier. That's why I'm bringing it up. And you all are good with the call to action, a few things, but nobody's getting the number one important thing, because without this, nobody's going to call anyways. And the call to action is important. Craig, can you answer this for them? The number one most important thing they have to do?
The number one most important thing that a flyer needs to do, especially in real estate, is to convey to the buyer the need and the want and the desire to own that home. Okay? Listing the features of that home is great. Selling them on, this is why I want this home, the dream of home ownership is the biggest, and you have that opportunity.
Dream of home ownership. That's the big thing.
What's that?
Yeah, I just wanted to repeat. Sorry, my mic kind of went out. What you just said there was the big thing, the dream of home ownership.
Right. It's they say it's the American dream, to own your own home, yada yada. The big thing is that most agents, especially the inexperienced agents that we talk about, that I talked about in this presentation, for the most part, they list the features of the home. They don't list the features that the homeowner really wants to know, which is, why do I want this home? I want this home. I want my family in this home. I want this to be my daughter's room. I want this to be my son's room. This is where my dog's going to go out and play. This is where we're going to have barbecues. Selling that dream for that home. Now, obviously, not every home is going to be that buyer's exact home, the home that they want. But when you can instigate that thought pattern, when you can kind of make that person understand, like, wow, yeah, I can actually picture myself here. I can picture myself sitting here on the couch and all that kind of stuff, watching TV or the fire or whatever it might be. That's the biggest thing you can do. Whether or not, and with a flyer, it's mandatory because you have that, because every person that walks through a house, through a listing, is going to be handed a flyer. Whether or not the agent keeps them on the outside of the house or not, when when a person walks through the house, either through an open house or they call somebody and they say, I want to see, 35 Main Street, they're going to be given a flyer. They're going to be given information about that house. And the big thing is that's the information that you can use right now. The person saw pictures. They were interested enough to actually come in and see the house, see what it's about. But now you have the opportunity to really convey that dream of home ownership to them, utilizing marketing materials and being just an agent, or working with an agent, or teaching agents how they can do this. And that's a big way to be able to help brand themselves, as well as become the agent that person wants to be able to work with. So if you can help agents that way, it's a win-win situation for you both, because they're realizing that you're giving them the information that's getting them more success with the buyers and sellers that they're working with. So when I say how can you fix them when you're working with somebody, let them know that selling the features of the house is great. Letting them know it's got an in-ground pool and it's got a deck and it's got this and that. That's great. Listing that is great. Selling it as, imagine your family sitting on the deck and imagine swimming in the pool in the middle of summer or whatever. Get them to start to understand that and picture that in their head, and you have the opportunity to do that. And if you can do that and help agents do that, then the results that they're going to see and the feedback that they're going to see is just going to be incredible.
Cool, Craig. And I want you to go ahead and the next couple slides we've got in the presentation are kind of little examples for the flyers. So I want you to power through those real quick so we don't make this thing too long here for everybody.
Right. I see it's 9:07 already, so I know we're a little bit past. So let me move on to I don't need to go through this slide. I pretty much explained it. Most flyers are bad examples. So what the big thing is that flyers are needed in all home listings. They're needed there. Anytime a listing happens, there's going to be a real estate flyer there. That's the opportunity to be able to use that information to sell that dream of home ownership. Okay, open houses, and hopefully the screen is showing. Open houses is a really big thing as well, because when a person goes to an open house, they're going to be given a flyer. Now this is great, and this kind of goes into the next slide as well. And I'm trying to just power through this, so I apologize if I'm going fast. Obviously, Don, I know you're recording this, so people will be able to go back. But here's the big thing when it comes to an open house, and this goes back to what I was explaining before. When agents don't have a lot of business going on, when they don't have a lot of listings and so forth, they're doing open houses for leads. The great thing about an open house is that when that agent does an open house, they're going to put the images of the picture of the home there that the agent gives them, or that they got from the from the multiple listing site or whatever. And typically, obviously, this agent will work in the same office as the listing agent. But they're able to take the flyers and stuff given to the people walking through that open house with their information on it, because they're going to be the buyer's agent. They don't have to put the listing agent's information on there, because they're the ones that's considered, and some people may know what this is, but it's called procuring cause of sale. They're the one that if that person decides to buy that house from coming through that open house, they are the procuring cause of sale. They're the catalyst that started that process. So if for any reason a person walks through an open house through with the agent that was there, that person, that agent that did the open house, that's why they want to have their information on this information that's being delivered or handed out to the potential buyer, because that's how they're going to make their money, and that's what actually causes the initial transaction to start happening.
Hey,
so
Craig,
that's
I'm having a couple people asking for examples of some flyers, and I know you've got programs, you've got memberships and all that stuff for flyers. So do you have some you can show them real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me back out of this for a second, and let me show you this here real quick. And hopefully everybody can see this. I'm going to open up one of.
I can see. Can everybody else see real quick? Just give me a yes in the box if you can see the screen. Okay, getting a bunch of yeses. Yeah, keep going, buddy.
Okay, perfect. I look at the audience view and I just see that it looks like it's buffering. So I'm going to open up this. Now, one of the big things that I've done is I've worked with a group and we create professionally designed real estate flyers for agents. Now, like I said, the big thing is that no matter how good a flyer may look, you really want to make sure that you're using it to the best possibility for a potential home buyer. And when you're working as an offline marketer, as a professional marketer with these agents, if you're able to give this to them and do this for them or allow them to do it themselves very, very easily, you become a hero. It's unbelievable. And the great thing is you can do these for inexpensive enough that you can get your foot in the door and start that relationship off with agents right away. So this is an example of one of the flyers that we do, and it's all laid out already. But I want to show you how easy it is to actually edit the flyers that we've actually created. So how we have this, and I apologize because I don't. My screen is kind of weird because I have the GoToWebinar thing up here. But if I click on anything here, and this is all done through Adobe Reader, so it's actually pretty cool. But I can change this, so I can just actually put welcome to this home, okay? And then I can put I can actually change this. Sorry, a little bit of a delay because I have too many things running here. But I can actually put home sweet home right here. Okay.
I love how it's so simple, man. I love how it's so simple. Because I suck at graphics. Anybody that's on my list knows I suck at graphics. So I love this stuff.
And hopefully you guys can see this. I can minimize it a little bit if that helps a little bit. But you know how these flyers work is when you want to change an image, and I'll just go through it really, really quick and show you how simple it is to do it. And if anybody has any questions, but watch how fast this is. I'm going to change this image here, and I'm just going to go to all files. I'm going to choose the main home. I'm going to choose the dining room. I'm going to click here. I'm going to choose the living room. And I'm going to click here, and I'm going to choose the master bedroom. Now, typically how I do this is I actually create a specific folder for each listing that I'm working with or for each agent. And then all this other information I can change. So I can change the address. So I can put 35 Windmere Street. Montville, whatever it ends up being. I can change all of this information. I can just type. I just select it and type. And there actually is an area up here. You guys can see this purple bar. I can actually highlight all those fields to see exactly where I'm able to edit. And the great thing is that these are all laid out specifically. Agents have told us exactly how they wanted these layouts to work. How they want them to be very simple, and that's basically all you need to do in order to edit these flyers. Now this area, this whole big content area here, as you can see as I'm typing, is a huge area where you can do that home, the need to want to buy a home, that desire to be a home ownership or to have a home ownership, that's where you can do that. You can give the prices, you can give the features over here. We can change the listing agent. I'm actually going to put a picture of Don Wilson here. He looks a little bit different in this file than he does normally. But you can change, you can put Don the Dragon right here, change the phone numbers. You can put QR codes. Now, let's just say that you don't have an image or you don't have a QR code, or your agent needs a QR code. Obviously, you can work with them and help them with that. But if you don't have something there, you can actually just replace that with we have a blank image that you just replace it and it makes it look like there's no image there. So you can actually just make it look like there's nothing there. And once that's done, once you have the flyers, and you can actually paste the information in here. You don't even have to actually type it. You can actually create these flyers in like a couple minutes. And then you just save it as a new name, typically save it as the address. And then at the very bottom here, there's this little checkbox, and you lock the flyer, and then that way nobody else can edit that flyer. And it's such a simple way to be able to do it. They're professionally designed by by my partners actually, who have worked on have worked as graphic designers and have worked with we've worked now with thousands of agents that have basically told us this is how we want layouts to be. And anytime that we hear something that they want, we typically try to create something based on that for them. And typically now it's can I add a QR code in there? Can I add in, information for my Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it might be, social media, whatever it might be, multiple listing number, all that kind of stuff. We try to do all that, and this is primarily how I go after a lot of real estate agents. Let them know, hey, look, this is what you're doing. This is how we can help. This is a great way to be able to do it, and we specialize in this. What else might we be able to do for you? And this is a great get in the door opportunity for you, especially with those types of agents that I mentioned before. The ones that are inexperienced, the ones that are looking to get to the next level, the ones that are looking to set themselves apart to get to the, how does, like I said before, how does Joe Smith, how is he so successful? What does he have that I don't? Things like that. These are ways that you can kind of set the difference in your area, and you can do it and actually charge a fee where it's worth it for you to actually make a little bit of money, but actually get your foot in the door with agents offering them something that they need anyway. So I hope that
Hey,
you can kind
Craig,
of see how easy.
actually, so real quick, guys, I'm big on feedback to make sure I know I'm delivering right. You guys like that flyer he's got there and how easy it is to use? Adobe Reader is a good program. Can I get a yes in the box if you love them and you think they're actually a great tool to use? Okay, getting tons and tons of yeses. Okay, Craig, go back to your PowerPoint presentation. I actually asked Craig to allow us. He's got a membership that these are in, and I'm actually asked a favor of him to let us in for the cheapest price possible. So, Craig, go ahead and advance the slide and explain that to them. So you guys, this is the cheapest price he'll ever offer this membership for. It's not going to be very expensive. It'll be a complete no-brainer. I don't want to shove anything down your throat here. Look at it. It seems like the flyers are going to be of value for you. Invest. Craig, go ahead.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, obviously, the way that I work my product creation business, which this is part of it, is obviously to allow anybody to be able to have access to this stuff for a fee that makes sense to everybody. That they can sit there and say, you know what, yeah, this is something that I can afford, that I honestly can see making extra money with. So what we've done here is we've created an elite membership for something called Rapid Fire Flyers. Now, I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with that name, but that's something that I've worked on before, and we've created, my partners and I have created an exclusive membership for members to be able to get access to flyers that have never been seen or have been used by anybody else. So how the membership works is you get 6 new flyers per month. They're exclusive just to members, and the big thing is that you get full local white label rights to them as well. So we don't put any of our own branding on there because they're exclusive. So you're actually able to go out and offer them as a service to agents where you can sit there and say, hey, I do flyers. This is how much they cost. If you want me to print them for you, this is how much they cost. And typically you can sell a flyer to an agent for anywhere between, one single flyer. So this is obviously per listing. So if an agent has multiple listings, obviously you can do the math. But you can easily go out and sell a flyer that you can create within just a couple minutes for that agent and sell that to them for about between $17 to $25 like that. It takes you 5 minutes to do, and you can do that per listing that they have.
Now, Craig, I don't want to interrupt you, buddy, real quick, but I'm getting a couple people asking, because everybody knows I promoted your Rapid Fire Flyers before. Everybody's asking if it's the same thing or not, and these are completely different. I just want to make sure that you explain that to everybody so that they know this is something that you cannot get publicly.
This is my partners and I. We've worked with those flyers before. Obviously, you may have seen them as a product on the Warrior Forum and all that kind of stuff. This is something that I talked to my partners about and said, hey, look, we need to be able to give exclusive rights to people that want to be able to take their business further with real estate agents. They agreed, and we started to work on exclusive flyers that have never been seen anywhere before. And the great thing is that as we create them, they become available to you. Like I said, you're going to get 6 new flyers per month. They're exclusive to members only. They're not going to be seen anywhere else. You're not going to see them on other WSOs. You're not going to see them on other products. And the great thing is you do get full white label rights to them, which means that you can actually resell the templates to agents in your area. So you can either offer it as a service and charge that, or, and this is how I do it, I create a flyer for an agent, and then I give them the template so that if they have price changes or they want to change any of the features around or whatever, they can actually do that, and I give them the template to be able to use and that's what you're going to be able to have access to with the white label rates.
Let me butt in real quick here, because I know how much my guy that does all my graphics work for me, because I know I suck at graphics, and he charges me $100 for a flyer. And I don't know if I'm getting overcharged or not, but 6 flyers, and this dude's great. He gives them to me quick, and they're amazing. My clients love them. That's going to cost me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So Craig's offering you 6 per month. I just want to ask, what would you be wanting to pay for that? What would be a decent deal for a monthly fee? Just put it in the box so I can get some feedback in here. We're going to show you the price in just 1 second, but I want a feedback from you. What's a fair cost on that from you guys for a monthly 6 new flyers, so you can go out there and crush it and have. We got $39 a month. A couple others that are giving me around the same range, $10 each. So that's $60 a month. Craig, go ahead and let them know how much it is. Advance the slide so you guys can see just how much of a no-brainer this is. $12.97 a month. That's the lowest price ever going to get. And, I mean, can I get a yes in the box if that's a good price? Great. Getting tons of yeses. Even with the delay, I'm getting tons of yeses. Craig, keep going, buddy. Keep going.
Right. Like I said, the way that I work my business when I'm dealing with product creation and things like this is I want to see the success of the people that actually buy products through me. And the way that I'm going to see success from them is by providing them with tremendous value as much as I possibly can, but also allow anybody to be able to afford the stuff that I offer, because I want to see your success. It's very, very fulfilling for me to be able to see the success of customers that buy products that I've actually created and worked on and so forth. So, like I said, you're looking at $12.97 per month. You can resell one of these flyers as a service and make that money back with one listing. You can obviously resell the white label rights directly to agents. You can resell it. You can offer it as a service and then sell them the template to be able to use, teach them how to lock it. I show you exactly. Let me just make sure that I have this information right. Okay, it's actually on the on the page. But basically, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to have unlimited rights to these flyers for your local area. So the only thing that we ask is that you do not just sell these on the internet to anybody and everybody, because they are exclusive. They're going to be super powerful for you to be able to use in your local area, because nobody else is going to be able to offer these to agents. And if you use the information that I've provided you with and that Don has provided you with in his course and what you've learned through this webinar, and go after the agents that actually are the bigger piece of the pie, the agents that need to get to that next level, that want to get to that are experienced that pain of really only seeing a couple grand a month, if they're closing, to be able to offer them services that are inexpensive, that you can get your foot in the door and actually show them results. Because it's actually pretty cool when you're working with an agent and they're giving you feedback on the flyers that you created for them. I got a lot of feedback from people that did rapid fire flyers, and they said that the agents come back to them and they love the service that they were able to provide. And the great thing is that it's so simple to do. It's been created to be able to work very, very simply. And I also give you a tutorial to show you exactly how to do this. Basically, the tutorial shows you exactly what I just showed you in a little bit more detail, the same exact flyer, the same picture of Don Wilson, same home and all that kind of stuff. But in more detail, you're going to be able to see that, how to save it, lock it, all that kind of stuff. And really, once you start to play around with these flyers, you're going to see how quickly you can do these for agents, and how much you can actually really start to see some income coming in fairly fast. But the big thing is develop that relationship with agents by getting them results.
Awesome, Craig. Awesome. I think everybody out here is seeing the value. They know the quality. It's real simple to see how easy it is to get the flyers. Everybody says it's an awesome deal. Go ahead and give everybody the link so they can go ahead and get it for the $12.97. This is the lowest price it will ever be. These are never going to be sold as WSOs. You're getting exclusive rights to them. Sell them in your local market. The lowest price ever. I'm not going to say this is normally $7,000 a month. That's all BS. This is the lowest price Craig is ever going to do it for. So if you've bought real estate agent Takeover, so I know you're interested in real estate. I know you got clients or you're working on getting them. Get all the tools you need. Here's the best deal you can find anywhere. I had to beg him to give some of this content. Everybody's giving me great feedback. Go ahead. If you want some great flyers, it's a no-brainer to me. I'm getting them myself. go ahead and invest and have all the tools you need. The link is on there. I'm going to go ahead and try and get it in the box for you. Let's see here. 1 second. All right. I'm pasting it in there.
And you'll also have access to support. If you have any questions, my partners or I will definitely be able to help you out with any questions. If you have any suggestions, we also definitely look into that as well. And the great thing
is, can I just get a yes in the box that you got the link? rapidfireflyers.com/Don. That way you can get him for the lowest price, because he's not going to keep it like this. I'm not going to tell you in 10 minutes it's going to go up in a bunch of false scarcity. You don't need it. If you see the value and you think it's going to benefit you and your clients, grab it. If not, that's cool too. We've given you a lot of value. Hope you're enjoying it. Can I get it? Just if you're actually in there already, just put "I'm in" the box so I can know that you've already got in there. You've got a bunch of people say they already bought. Just put "I'm in," because I think it's a great deal, and I appreciate you, Craig, for a bunch of people saying "Buying now, I'm in." Got the link, buying now. Awesome. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Gene. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Justin. Thanks to everybody. I appreciate you going in there. And thanks, Craig, for giving everybody such a great deal that's on the call. And if you're on the replay, I'm going to get them to at least keep that open for 48 hours so everybody can get in, because it's obviously a steal. I've got a bunch of people saying thanks, Craig, so I appreciate you doing that offer for everybody.